Good morning. I'm Stephanie and I'm an alcoholic. And, I'm really feeling very humble this morning. I just prayed that I could empty myself and God could use me this morning for somebody here. I don't know who, but, I hope God touches somebody's heart. I was thinking about, just because it says, that we are all here for basically the same reason. We have a mental illness. My mental illness, this bit that we read really describes it, because, I am this egomaniac with a lack of self-esteem. That's who I am. This chapter just lays that out so perfectly for me. And I come here with a great pedigree, of addiction and alcoholism in my family. So I grew up seeing a lot of people setting a model and an example of this kind of life, People that thought they were extremely kind and extremely generous and extremely concerned with other people, but really what they were trying to do was wrest satisfaction from life on their own. And so this is how I was raised. I've told people, one of my experiences, my family comes more from the South, and if anybody else has that background, people sit on porches in the South, at least they used to, and in the evening, and the adults would talk, and I would hear the conversation. I'd hear people talking about how they were going to manipulate this person's life, or they were criticizing. It was all on the outside, it was all these other people. I laid there very quietly listening, because I thought this was fascinating about how these people knew everything about how everybody else's life should be run. They had all the answers. They did nothing wrong. All the other people did something wrong. And so I thought that was it. I thought, you went out in life and you figured out how everybody else should live, and that, of course, somehow, miraculously, I would know what other people needed. I would know what I need. And I was clueless, really, in all ways. I was really clueless. So, I went off, and as a young person, went off to UMass in the early 70s, and anybody else of my generation knows what that was like. And I was exposed to things, experienced things. Oh my gosh, I wanted to be, not straight, all those straight people, that wasn't who I wanted to be. So I entered a different culture, and I'm really good at being an addict and being somebody who uses outside commodities. I don't know how else to say it. There are other things outside of me, whether it's relationships, whether it is people pleasing, whether it is alcohol, whether it is drugs, whether it is food, I can find anything to alter what's going on inside of me. And this starts out that we need to be honest about that part of ourselves. And I had no idea. I'll never forget. There was a point at which I had some friends I was hanging out with, and I thought, they're much more into this stuff than me, And there was alcohol involved, and I was very much fixated on this bottle that we had in our room. And I was the one who kept exhorting everybody, oh, come on, let's party, let's have a good time. And I thought I was just being like them, but they thought, oh my God, there's something really wrong, because I had nothing else in my mind but this. And I didn't realize until much later that they came to me and they said, we're really getting worried about you. And there were other things I did besides the alcohol, that they were really worried about me. But I didn't see anything wrong with me. There wasn't a thing wrong with me. I was just fitting into the crowd. I was just doing what everybody else was doing. And the reason I was doing that is because I wanted to be appreciated, because I wanted to be, to build that self-esteem I said I had none of. And so honesty wasn't there. There was no honesty. There was no self-awareness. I wondered. I always felt like I was really superficial, that I didn't have a depth of soul, because all I was trying to do was work so hard to keep, as they talk about that ballet going well, things to please me, things to make my life better, manipulating. Oh, that is my default. I am such a good manipulator. I can be so nice to you. I can be so kind. I can be so generous. And that goes on for so long. And then you don't do what I'm wanting you to do, or life doesn't go the way I want it to. So then I become more forceful. So then I become very logical. And so I start explaining to you, if only this, and then that, and then, and I want to make this better for you. This part of your life will be better. And we will have a wonderful time together, and let's do it this way. And then when people don't respond to that, the righteous indignation. That's my next, and that's when I really begin to isolate myself. And that is one of my greatest fears, is being alone and not having people with me. And I go batshit crazy. That's all I can tell you. And that's when the substances come into play, because I cannot live in that state. I have to have something come between me and those feelings of I'm inadequate, you don't like me, there's something really, really, really wrong with me, and you're going to find out, and I will be alone. And that's that whole sequence for me. And that's such a symptom of my not having a higher power, not having a relationship with a higher power. Because I think everything rests on me. Our relationship is based on what I do, what I say, how I interact with you, if I convince you I'm a good enough person. And that's, one thing. I was sitting up here and I'm thinking, I am so comfortable being here because I know you all understand. This bit of this chapter is me, and how did Bill know, and when he was putting this together, how did he know me? Because I wasn't even born, And how do you understand me? It's because we share that same insanity. That's all I can say. It's insanity. It's not rational. I thought I was very rational. I thought I had this mind. Oh boy, God gifted me with this great mind. I could do well on academic tests. Oh, I was one of those people, just give me an old, score, the sheets with all the little bubbles. I'll ace that. I'll impress you. I remember, this is, before I got into program, I had to do the Miller's analogy, and I was going to a state school, But I had taken it prior, and I went to BC. So I brought my scores in, and the woman who looked at them said, "Oh, no problem. You don't have to retake this. You did so well that you don't have to retake it." Well, I walked out of there. That's the kind of thing that I built my self-esteem on. Now I'm okay, right? Because that number, that outside evaluation told me I was okay. Those are the things I was always striving for. Something outside of me telling me I was okay. And when I wasn't okay, then I had to pull something from outside. Today, I have to tell you, I don't know how you feel about me, and I don't know how the rest of the world feels about me. And I used to say, I had these antennae up. I was constantly reading the crowd. Constantly reading, do they like this? Do they not like this? What are their expectations of me? So that I could be okay. And today I know most people in this world that I contact are very concerned about themselves. They really don't think that much about me. I mean, I don't know, this is a woman thing, I think. I don't think it's what guys do. But I used to worry about what clothes I wore certain places because somebody would remember that I wore that same outfit, I don't remember what other people, I don't have a log recorded on the date, last time I saw this person, they had on this. What difference does it make, But it was very important to me. It was so important that you were impressed with me, that you approved of me. It was crazy. It certainly was insanity. So what changed? Well, I got a sponsor. And she started saying things. I loved people that were comforting to me, oh, it's all good. She wasn't. I went after her because she was very spiritual. Well, that's what I got, let me tell you. Somebody that had a spiritual message, not somebody who was going to make me feel good. And I can remember when I first would call her, when we were still reading and I hadn't started writing, and I'd start to want to lay out all the problems of my life, and have somebody who was going to soothe me and console me. And she would simply say, she'd let me get it out, most of it. Sometimes she would cut me off. But she'd say to me, when are you ready for your life to not be so colorful? What she meant was, when are you ready to take the work on seriously? When are you going to be ready to do something different? Because that had been the only pattern I had known. So, she took me through this reading, and she brought me down to this paragraph on page 62. And I'm just going to read it because it was what she helped to teach me. This is the how and why of it. First of all, we had to quit playing God. Didn't really know what that meant at the time. Had some vague idea of what that might imply, because it didn't work. Next, we decided that hereafter, in this drama of life, God was going to be our director. He is the principal. We are his agents. He is the Father, and we are his children. Most good ideas are simple. Oh, you mean I don't need to use this wonderful intellect? I don't have to impress you with some, academic performance here? Most good ideas are simple, and this concept is the keystone. And she stressed that idea of what a keystone was. I happen to have, again, because I'm, so educated, I knew what a keystone was. I had, Greek architecture, I knew exactly. But she said to me, this is exactly what this has to be. It is the keystone, the thing that supports everything that's going to come around it, everything that's going to be built upon this. And this keystone of my new and triumphant arch through which I would pass and receive freedom. It's a powerful thing. Freedom. Freedom from all the anxiety, all the pent-up worry, all the need to be okay, all the need to make you like me, to make the world approve of me, to make me okay. I needed that freedom because guess what? Then we got to that third step, prayer. And the lines that are so impressive to me is that I was going to know the power, the love, and the way of life of a higher power. That power. Oh my gosh, I can tell you something that's just happened in my life My mother is 90 years old. She's living in assisted living. And her dementia is progressing rapidly. And it's very upsetting to see this happen. I'm at a distance. She's in North Carolina. Because of the dynamics of my family, and I won't go into all that, my two younger siblings, the two youngest, have been left with the responsibility to handle her affairs, her money, all of this. They are the decision makers. And my brother had announced to my sister, who is down there and taking care of her, that her money was running out and she most likely would not be able to stay where she was. They would be moving her shortly to a facility where Medicare, where it could be covered by Medicare, which would mean, she's in a lovely place, let me tell you. She's got a great place. I'd go there, but, I'm serious. It used to be a golf resort. It's down in North Carolina. It's great. So anyway, I really had a lot of concern about this because I don't want to see anything harm her any more than she already is experiencing. It's bad enough what she's going through. So I began praying, and I'm telling you this honestly, it is just amazing. I would envision at night that I was taking all my worries, I'm putting it in a box, and I'm putting it up on a shelf in my closet. I visualized this. And I said, every time I did that, as I went to sleep and I was saying my prayers, I'd say, okay, God, it's yours. You have to take care of this. In the morning, I can take it down and I can take a peek, but I have to put it back up on the shelf because it's yours, God. It's not mine. I don't have to carry that around today. I don't have to be the one responsible. I don't have to figure out how to tell my brother what he needs to think and do. I don't have to tell my sister how she should get along with him so she can manipulate the situation to go the direction that we think it should go in. I don't have any control over this. My brother went down this past week. He evaluated, he said to my sister, Mom is in such a great place, I don't think we should move her. I am going to do everything I can to figure out how to handle the finances. Never would have thought that could have come out of this. God's solutions are so much more elegant. I can't tell you upon taking the third step that I was where I am today. Because I wasn't. But today I can leave things in God's hands. My claw marks are sometimes still on them. But I put that up on that shelf. And I know God has it. God has this whole world. God has everything. He's been managing long before I was ever born. God has a plan. God loves me. You know that line? God loves me. I didn't have to do anything to earn that. God just loves me. And one of my very good friends in program and spiritual guide has told me, and I tell you this, God is crazy in love with me. He's crazy in love with you. He wants only the best. We don't have to earn it. We don't have to do anything. Just open up to God. Let him have a space in your life. That's my experience. Thank you.